to introduce Corporal Mark Barron, who has been the lead investigator on this case. Corporal Barron.
Thank you, Trooper Petrosky. Good morning, everyone. Today is a very important day for the Pennsylvania State Police. It's my impression that this is the fourth oldest case, cold case, to be solved in the country utilizing genetic genealogy. And that's the tool that Mr. Schubert helped to provide to us. And if it's the fourth oldest cold case in the country to be solved utilizing this technology, it's the oldest in the state. So this is a very important day for our department. It's also an important day for the Hazleton community as a whole. This was a violent and a heinous crime that was committed against a small child. And I'm going to get a motion. We're always told not to get attached to a case, but you can't help it. And it's a vivid memory for everybody who lived through this, and it's a vivid memory for everybody who grew up in this area. You were told by a grandparent, a parent, an aunt, an uncle, this is Maurice's story. And what happened to her ushered in a change in this community. Whether you like it or not, the way you lived changed after March 18th of 1964 in Hazleton. And lastly, this has been a day that this family has been waiting for nearly 58 years. And as the lieutenant said, even though we couldn't bring charges against Mr. Ford, I hope that this brings some type of closure for the thing. I really do. Now that I have all of that out of the way, I was assigned this case in 2017. And I was told by Corporal McAndrew, who's down there at the end, I came back to the troop and I went to Sergeant Stefanik and I asked him if I could still be the lead investigator. And he said absolutely. But when you work a case that's nearly 58 years old, you work as a part of the team. And since March 18th of 1964, we assembled one heck of a team. We had over 230 members of this department. He did an excellent job, so thank you, Tim. And recently I was told a story by Sergeant Stefanik, who got it from retired Sergeant Good, that as one of the original investigators on this case, they worked this case from March 18th of 1964 through the end of July of 1964 without taking a day off. And I think that shows the incredible dedication that the original investigators gave to this case. Again, they always tell us not to get emotionally attached to an investigation, but you can't help it. And when we called Mr. Good, he knew the date of this incident like that. So it stuck with him, and it stuck with every member that had some involvement in this case. So with all of that being said, special thanks need to go out to the current command staff of Troop N Hazleton. Captain Michael Carroll, Lieutenant Joseph Sparridge, who couldn't be here, and Lieutenant Devin Brutowski. Your willingness to release funds so this investigation could be furthered was greatly appreciated. Without your assistance, we wouldn't be here today. We wouldn't. On a personal note, from myself to all the sergeants who I worked under at PSP Hazleton, thank you for allowing me to still work this case and work all my patrol functions. I appreciate it. That goes out to, again, Sergeant Stefanik, who I named, Lieutenant Jim Danini from Stroudsburg, Sergeant Jerry Ustinowski from Bloomsburg, and Sergeant Anthony Ferdinand, he's in the back, from PSP Hazleton. to Trooper James Quiros from the Criminal Investigation Unit. Q, thank you for assisting me with conducting all these interviews and getting the DNA that broke this case open. And to Eric Schubert of VS Genealogy, thank you for providing your expertise and guidance to this case. And then finally, I just want to say that this case has not only displayed the tenacity of this department, but it also has shown the great work that's being accomplished by law enforcement daily. Even though it took nearly 58 years for this case to be solved, I think that this should instill in the families of victims across the state and across the country a sense of hope. And that hope is that no matter how long it may take, we as law enforcement will never give up in trying to find the perpetrators of these heinous crimes that go on. So, and God willing, in life or in death, you will be found.
Ago, asking if he could work on our case. For the Pennsylvania State Police, that's a little outside the box. This decision paid off. Mr. Schubert provided a service that we would have never expected, and he reached out to us. We are proud to have him here, and I'm proud to introduce him to come up and speak next, Mr. Eric Schubert.
Thank you, Trooper Bukowski, for the very, very kind words. As was said, my name is Eric Schubert of VS Genealogy. I was the independent consultant brought on through the District Attorney's Office to conduct a genealogy investigation into this case. Just a little bit about my background. My work with genealogy stretches back over 10 years and has been featured nationally. I've assisted in several other cold cases throughout the country over the past 2 years. And as was mentioned, I've been involved in this investigation for about 2 years. So it's certainly something that I've been working on a very long time, and it means a lot to me, as I know it does to so many people here. It really was a multifaceted investigation that left absolutely no stone unturned. At the beginning, as was mentioned, the highest DNA match to Maurice's assailant in public DNA databases was about 53 centimorgans. And a centimorgan is, think of it like a unit of measurement for a genetic linkage. You share a set amount of centimorgans with everyone in your family. And 53 is very, very low, as was mentioned. But that was where we started. From there, I conducted traditional family tree research using census records, military records, newspaper records, and more. So we were really zeroing in on families, locations, links, and it took a year, but we were able to go from 53 centimorgans to almost 200, which now is really something that I can work with. It was the strongest and most important lead that we had to date. I'll never forget when Corporal Barron was telling me that we had just gotten that match, because in that moment, I knew that we were going to find the assailant. We quickly worked our way up from that match to a match that in the end was over 1,000 centimorgans. It's about 1,200. That's something that you would share with a person who's a half-uncle, a cousin, that sort of thing. So to go from 53 to 179 to 1,200 took 2 years. And at the end of the day, those matches allowed me to identify the assailant for the state police. So that is a bit of background on the specifics on how this team did it. And on a personal note, I really would like to say that the investigation that went into all of this work was probably the hardest genealogy task that I've ever faced in over 10 years, as long as I've been doing genealogy. I would dare to say that this was probably the hardest thing that I've ever done in my entire life. And it means so much to me that I was able to be on the team that could provide answers for the Chiberla family, and to, of course, help out the state police to close this investigation. With that being said, there's so many people that I want to thank. I'm sure I'm going to miss some people. Words can't express my appreciation for Corporal Mark Barron, who was absolutely indispensable in his role as lead investigator on the case. I especially want to thank Trooper Q, Trooper Heroes, Sergeant Stefanik, Trooper Petrosky for not thinking my email was crazy and actually taking me up on it, and especially retired corporal and former DA's office detective Sean Williams for everything they did to assist in solving this case. And like I said, there's so many people who worked on this, so that's just a snippet. But this was really something that is going to stick with me for a very long time, and everyone's work in this was absolutely invaluable to finding James Paul Ford. Their dedication, their advocacy, their support, and contributions were really invaluable to this investigation, and like I said, they all played really vital roles. I was 18 years old when I started working on this case. Now I'm almost 21, so this is something that I've been working on this for a very long time, to say the least. So it's certainly something that I know is going to stick with me because I spent so much time on it. I've been working on it practically my entire undergraduate career so far in college. So the people on this team mean a lot to me. They put so much into it. We worked as a team, and we, in the end, found the answers that everyone was looking for. And like I said, today I especially want to say that my thoughts are with the Chiberellas, especially Maurice's great siblings who I've gotten to know very well over the past 2 years. They've waited so long to have this answer. I, of course, can't put myself in their shoes, but I know how hard this is. And I really want to say that I appreciate all their kind words and support, and it's been great getting to know them. Their words always mean a lot, and it was really important to me that they know how hard this team was working over these past 2 years to find James Paul Ford. It really is a big honor to have assisted, and yes, thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. Can everyone hear me? Can everyone see me? They could not lower this podium. Thanks for your patience. For those of you that may not know, my name is Ronald Chiberla. I'm the oldest child from Carmen and Mary Chiberla. He introduced my sister Carmen Marie. My younger brother, but the oldest in the middle is Barry Chiberla and David Chiberla. To the members of the extended family, I wanted to say thank you for coming today. Not only for today, but for the support you've provided to us over the years. That's been so important. And I know extremely important to our parents. On behalf of the Carmen and Mary Chiberla family standing here, we really want to offer a heartfelt appreciation and an admiration for the Pennsylvania State Police. You know, we keep hearing 58 years, and my goodness, that was a long time. But over those 58 years, the Pennsylvania State Police routinely made their presence known continuously through those 58 years. They visited and called with updates to the family. They responded to questions we had. They asked a lot of questions. They provided comfort and hope. And that was a human element, a bit of what Mark Barron had touched on. We've gained a very tight emotional connection to each other. And that can be a little dangerous, I believe, in a professional capacity, but it's also a treasure and a value for a family like ours that were affected by something like Maurice's loss. The Pennsylvania State Police were unquestionably committed to solving Maurice's case. I know that's a repetition, but I'd like you to hear it again because it's something we feel in our hearts. An expression of this comes from a March 20th, 2019 press conference when Trooper Petrosky said, and I paraphrase, he said, "Over the last 55 years, this investigation has not stopped, and it is not going to stop. So it spoke so well to the spirit and the dedication we had seen for the 55 years that preceded that day. And it capsulizes the motivation and the core values also of the Pennsylvania State Police. So, although Trooper Petrosky spoke for himself, he was speaking on behalf of the family, and it also continued to give us the faith that we've had over the previous 55 years. So thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Many worked on Maurice's case over the years. We've touched on that. You know, the family remembers individuals like Danny Gentile, who was there. I won't start trying to figure out how long back it was, Danny, but you were there. You were very, very effective with my family, my mother, my father, and so forth. And you were a valued asset, no doubt about it. I remember Brian Tobin. Sir, you were there, and you were very effective with helping us. I recall Sean Williams and retired Corporal Tom McAndrew for their help in previous years to where we are today. So with that, our family wants to recognize the frontline team. You've heard of portions of it, I believe, maybe all of it that I will miss, but the frontline team which solved Maurice's case, and I'm going to call out their names, and I would really appreciate it if you would stand when I call your name. Providing the leadership to the team has his outstanding job was Lieutenant Devin Bertosky. So if you would stand, sir. Thank you. Our family's primary point of contact, and as a professional Pennsylvania State Trooper, and as what became a personal friend, Corporal Barron. Trooper James Kuros. Sir, you were Sergeant Ryan Stefanik. Retired Pennsylvania State Trooper and current Chief of Police at Chickalimmy, Pennsylvania, Sean Williams. And to a wonderful individual, young, but he surely proved himself, was our genealogist, volunteer consultant, Eric Schubert. Our family, thank you so much.
I probably can't say too much that hasn't already been said. You know, the appreciation for the state police cannot be overstated. Their continuous work on a matter at times when we are often short of resources, and it seems like a new emergency comes up every day, but their dedication to this case is really what solved it. My own Deputy District Attorney, Dan Zola, who worked tirelessly with the state police on this case. It's our great regret that we do not get to prosecute the individual responsible. However, I believe the family said it best, that he will face his own vengeance where he is right now. Again, thank you to the family for having patience and faith that eventually we would come to the conclusion and find the identity of the murderer. And thanks to the Pennsylvania State Police and the rest of my team that actually worked tirelessly to find the results of this.